Welcome to Kingdom Calls, our weekly podcast on all things GA, and of course this week it's the pre-All-Ireland final week, and we're all looking forward to a big day on Sunday in Croke Park when Kerry, looking for their 39th title, take on Donegal, who to the best of my memory are looking for their third title. It might be four, but anyway, they don't have as many as we have. So will history and tradition count? Or will Jimmy winning matches fix this one against us and Donegal end up as the All-Ireland champions for 2025? Now we'll be discussing over the next hour or so the various ups and downs, both panels, matchups, form coming into it, and above all, who do the lads think who will win? Now, we don't have any celebrities with us. Number one, we can't afford them. Number two, I think the lads who are on the sidelines down through the years, watching all these players from minor up and indeed under 15 and under 16 at colleges level, with the grave exception of Damian Stack, has indeed, will know these players better than most, and we know how good they are and what footballers they have and what they've won and lost. Three with me this evening. One has fallen overboard, but he may arrive yet. And first of all, I have a man who's had more breakfast this week than the chef in Glenroe. That is John Kennedy. 3 All-Ireland medals in 84, 85 and 86. So that kind of keeps us a kind of a talented bunch. If we divide one...
Yeah, we have 3 All-Irelands between the three of us here.
Yes, 3 All-Irelands between the three of us. That leaves me with nothing. But anyway, John Kennedy, of course, who has been involved with Terrace Talk and involved in some of the gatherings this week organised by Kerry GA, all fundraisers, of course, and all trying to make up funds for the Kerry team, because reaching All-Ireland, it might not be easy in the pocket of the punter who's going to watch it and pay 100 for a ticket, but certainly not easy on county boards with all the expenses. Next, I have the sage himself, freelance reporter, junior footballer from Tarbert, that is John O'Dowd.
Thank you, Murt.
And he's a top tipster now to Star, by the way. You should buy it on Saturday and follow his tips, and you'll end up in the pool house. Next is the assistant editor. I called him deputy last week, and he said, you must be watching Westerns. So he's not a deputy, he's the assistant editor, whatever kind, of the Kerryman newspaper. Damian Stack, he's from Donegal, living in Ballybunnan, so he's moved house in North Kerry. That's a sure sign of insanity. How are you?
I'm not too bad, Mark, thanks.
And behind the cameras we have JC O'Shea of Dr. Croke's fame, one of the best producers and cameramen that this world has ever seen. County has ever seen, sorry. We'll start off, just a general one, John, you've been part of the excitement this week in the build-up between going to Dunquin Manor and then breakfast in Meadowlands, was it, or somewhere, and breakfast then in Killarney. Where were you in Killarney? Gleneagle?
No, I was just in the Midlands, Murt.
You're just in the Meadowlands, no? You weren't invited to the other ones. Yeah, I thought you wouldn't pay. The build-up, though, what's it like? And what's it like out in ST?
Yeah, sure, Murt, All-Ireland final week is brilliant, really. Do you know, and from the weekend past on, it's gained momentum. You know, everyone you meet, they're on about the injuries, they're on about the team. There's a lot of talk about Donegal, you know. Great respect for Donegal by the general supporters in the street, you know, particularly Jim McGuinness, the job he's done with them. 2 best teams in the country are there. But it's great, the colour around the county is brilliant. You know, I think from the weekend, it's kind of a tradition. Last week there was a lot of people ringing in the radio that there wasn't many flags here and there around the county, but you know, from the weekend before, people tend to put them up, and it all adds to the excitement, banners and flags and you know, best wishes to the players, and you know, all over the county, and it's great, and it's a special week for players, and management and county boards, but it's a special week for supporters. You know, it's the pinnacle of in Gaelic football, the All Ireland final. Supporters look forward to it, and now I suppose the closer it's coming. You know, they're realising that this is a very good Donegal side, and you know, the people that are there's surely knowledgeable people in this county, and I think they know that we will have to play really well. But we're there, and we're excited about it. The big question all the week is, and we spoke about it off air, is how the injuries are. Will there be any additions to the panel? The guys that missed out in the semi-final, and that's what adds to the intrigue of it all.
Yeah. Did you ever miss out on a fan for injury? No.
Oh, I did not know.
You were lucky.
You
were
were
lucky
lucky,
actually to be on that. No, you did very well.
No, I was lucky. Yeah.
You were lucky. John O'Dowd, what's the excitement like in Tarbert? And you worked in Dublin for years, so obviously in the northeast when Kerry were in the final every second year, almost every year. We didn't win all of them now, but we were there in
Six in a row.
6 in a row, was it? Yeah, 6 in a row finals. What was the build-up like if you were away? Like I have a son now in Dublin, so I presume, other than ringing me looking for tickets, he's very excited about it.
I suppose it didn't really concern the natives up there unless Dublin were the opposition to Kerry in the final, which would have started off, I think, in 2011. And I suppose that was the turning point of a lot that happened ever since, because really with, I think, 7 minutes to go, we were 4 points to the good and probably thinking we were almost home and dry, and then you end up losing the game by a single point, and that was a crushing blow. It was like
crushing. Was that the Tuxon point, was it?
Yeah, it was a crushing blow to everybody connected to Kerry, and it kind of set off the juggernaut that turned out to be Dublin. Like, would they have won the 6 in a row if they hadn't got started in that day, and if Kerry had won another All Ireland, who knows? But it was the start of their success. I think the 2-week gap now between the semi-final and the final takes away a bit of the anticipation and the preparation around the county and beyond. There was more a build-up back in those days. You had your quarter-final.
In September, though.
Yeah, you had your quarter-final, and there was nearly a gap of 3 or 4 weeks. Then you had your 3 or 4 week gap to the final, and it allowed people to build it up better. Yeah. Now it's all very rushed. Like, there's just a 2-week gap, and it actually comes upon you so quickly after the semi-final. You've hardly digested it, and you're already here for the final. So I do think that has taken away a bit of...
Do you think you should move back to sometime late in August?
I think they should move back to August. I'm not sure about late in August, but I think another few weeks would help.
I think, this is about football. Obviously, it's a football podcast today, but I think it takes from the hurling more than the football.
Yeah.
Because you've got basically until maybe Tuesday, Wednesday of the week of the All-Ireland final. We're still talking about the All-Ireland semi-finals. Then the All-Ireland hurling final will start. Comes in, and the coverage comes in, and the talk about it and all the chat, and then by about yesterday evening it was back onto football. The hurling is kind of this little blip in between all this football.
Totally agree. Like, realistically, you should be just talking about Tipperary for another week or 10 days.
And Cork.
Some performance
and Cork.
Some second half.
Before you build up to the football finals. So it is different. Maybe like for players, and if you're involved in a squad game every 2 weeks, they always seem to say that they like that. Or although I think David Moore said one time 3-week gap was nearly perfect. Like, it wasn't too short and it wasn't too long. So I suppose there's pluses and minuses, but it's not going to change too much.
No, Damian, from a work point of view, obviously you work in the Fourth Estate like the rest of us, and preparing. We've the hurling championship going in Kerry. We're at final stage actually, and there are media nights this week. We have the ladies footballers unlucky and tough luck on them. They were beaten last weekend. The Camogie girls are in the final. There is so much happening. Yeah. How does it fit in for a fella like you, for staff, even for space in the paper to get stuff in?
Yeah, no.
Were you able to get the Kingdom Warrior in this week, by the way?
I was able to get the Kingdom Warrior. No, it's bonkers. I was in Canada for a few weeks, and ever since I've come back, it's just been non-stop. I was, yeah. But it's been non-stop ever since then. The amount of games, even like there was like the one weekend where there was a gap between the semi-final and the quarter-final, we had the All-Ireland minor final.
Yeah.
You've had hurling here on a Friday night and a Sunday. If the Kerry are playing on a Saturday, there was Friday and Sunday.
And the median day.
And the median day was the finals of the hurling championship. Yeah, I know, like, the public don't care about poor us, but like you're saying, even we were asking John about the build up to the final. It's like, I haven't a clue. My head's been buried in a laptop since last Saturday evening, or even before that. Actually, no, since last Friday we've been working on the Ireland
supplement.
So it's like time to kind of like.
But it's fantastic. All the local papers, the Kerry Man, the Eye.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's the same up in Donegal, etc. They go to huge, the amount of work and effort and endeavour to produce these, which people keep and hold on to. And if your side wins, it's so much the better. You put it away and you show it to your grandchildren or whatever in 30 or 40 years' time. They are valuable, and I think that's why probably the teams, the players, we get to meet them, because we don't meet them another time of the year, unfortunately, at the moment, and the manager. So the media day, on the media day, before we move on to the game, I felt in Killarney, we met O'Dowd and Damian, James, of course, Costello, 2 selectors. We met Jack O'Connor, and we met also 3 players. We met Gavin White, captain, naturally. We met Shane Ryan, the goalkeeper, and Mr. Cool himself, the fullback, Jason Foley. I just felt from chatting to them and interviewing them, I know that you feel the same. They were very relaxed, weren't they?
They were. I
very well spoken.
They were. They're really good guys. In fairness, couldn't fault them. Great guys. But I remember, like, I think before the 23 final, I might have said it to you at the time. Oh God, they're very relaxed, and all this. You can't read in their body language on a Saturday, 8 days before an All-Ireland final. That I don't think that makes any odds to how Sunday is going to go. But they're very good guys.
I think Donegal actually were reported to have gone somewhere last weekend, the Saturday and Sunday, had a double training session, and Jim had the boys away telling them how to beat Kerry, obviously, in a kind of a relaxed form before they come into this week. I don't think we did it unless the boys stayed in Donegal or the Brehon or somewhere,
No.
But that's not exotic enough, is it? Although they're beautiful hotels, may I say. And I could do with
sponsorship,
I could do with a sponsorship, or I could do with a free bed there some night if you feel like. Brehon is a lovely hotel, and so is the Gleneagles. And my own preference, of course, is what? Castleross. Resort.
Mark, we're trying to get sponsorship here. Don't be
Yeah, Okay, right. Let's get down to brass tacks. We know how you feel. County's excited. Tickets. How are you in tickets? Now, you see, a fellow who has been at 3 or 4 Kerry GA functions, plus you're an All-Ireland medal winner, which entitles you to buy a ticket, as far as I know. You must have a hatful and bag full of tickets. Could I give out your phone number? People, if they wanted to contact you, if they were shorting a few tickets, you must have them, because you're not a black market man.
Oh no!
Only when it comes to fireplaces.
It's part of the build up. The tickets, more to be fair. Look, and luckily enough, I think, in fairness to the Kerry County Board, the genuine supporter and the guy or the man or woman that go to the games, they're usually looked after. It might be Saturday, might be Friday night, but I've never heard of the genuine supporter not getting a ticket. That's a tribute to them, in fairness. And I think just part of it, scampering for tickets and that, and I see it home, all the lads, family go up and that, and it's the build up is, and what kind of a ticket you want to get, regardless what ticket you get in Croke Park, it's a good one. I think the club are drawing maybe tonight or tomorrow night, and hoping maybe to get.
Are you organising that draw?
No, I'm not. No, I'm
You'll
not.
surely win 2 tickets yourself.
But I think
as regards hot balls and
no, but I think generally the clubs look after the people that are involved, the people that are behind the scenes and coaching and stuff like that, and then players, and then players. And I think that's very important. But I think it's hugely important that the people that are going to the games get the tickets. And I suppose the ticket schemes now are a big help to that as well.
Yeah, well, I think with a season ticket, they pay 150, they're guaranteed. And talked to a few people at the intermediate hurling final last night. Well done to Kilmare Shamrocks, by the way. As Damien were at it, and have looked to Ladies Walk. But they're part of the Ballyduff setup, and I'm sure they'll have something to say about that on Sunday a week when they take on Aberdeen. John, every podcast I listen to based in Dublin or up north, except the Examiner one and Morris Brosnan, I've broken the rule already, have been telling us that this is Donegal's year. Donegal are going to beat us. They're too good, they're too fast, we're a one-man team. Counteract, please.
Donegal are an excellent team with an excellent manager. I saw someone writing that they have no flaws, but I totally disagree with that. Every team has flaws, every team has weaknesses, every team has strengths. It's about trying to magnify your positives, and try and dampen down the negative aspects of your play so that they're not exploited too much. Donegal have been beaten by Tyrone by 3 points this year. Donegal have been taken to extra time by Armagh and have just won by a point after the added 20 minutes. Donegal have only beaten Monaghan by 2 points in Ulster Championship. Donegal were 6 or 7 points down to Monaghan at half-time in the quarter-final. Donegal only beat Mayo by a single point in the championship.
15, yeah.
So, yes, Donegal are a very strong team and an impressive team, and I agree with John. We will have to play probably our best game of the year, like potentially even greater consistently wise than against Armagh with that 15 minutes of magic to get over the top. But it's very much possible. I see this as generally a really 50-50 game. The teams have different characteristics, different game plans, different ways of playing. It promises to be like a fascinating tactical battle. I hope it just doesn't go too far down the tactical road, and maybe with the new rules it can't be like it was, because if you go back to the 2014 final, it was really a game of chess rather than a game of Gaelic football. And of course it was Jim McGuinness, and Donegal were coming off the back of beating Dublin that time, which was a huge result. And Kerry, in fairness, I spoke to Murt Muprhy this week, and they had to put a lot of emphasis into the McGuinness game plan and into Michael Murphy. And it's funny, like you fast forward 11 years and McGuinness is there again and Michael Murphy is back again. And it's going to be fantastic, but I think it will be a better game of football than it was 11 years ago.
Damon, I think also I was listening to Damon McGee today, and he was talking about that they were delighted when Kerry beat Mayo. They were afraid of Mayo, but they thought Kerry will take them in the final. We'll take them. They're taking us in a quarter final. Was it 2012, John?
Jack's last game of his second coming in football.
So they felt confident, and that was their downfall because Kerry won that one. It was tactical, as you say. Do you think that the 2014 final will have any? You still have McBrearty around, you still have McFadden around, you still have Michael Murphy around, McGuinness is around. Kerry side less.
Paul Murphy and Paul Ganey. And Cian O'Neill, which could be fascinating as well.
Fascinating, yeah. Do you think that the hurt from that Donegal would have it back then? Is it carried forward, or will McGuinness be saying to him, listen, we're a different team, a lot of young lads in Gallen, all these guys, will we try and, is there a different motivation for them this year?
You'd be inclined to say 2014 is ancient history, but then I was reading an interview with Jimmy McGuinness and he referenced it, being in the hotel and feeling...
He doesn't forget.
But yeah, exactly. So maybe. But yeah, I think there's 13 or 12 of those guys who are going to be starting on Sunday, who didn't play that day. So they were probably born, or you'd hope so anyway. Well, actually, it would be great if we were going to play the
11-year-olds playing in an All-Ireland senior final.
Yeah, it would be handy. All right, it'd be a handy All-Ireland for us. But so do they care that Donegal lost the game 11 years ago? I can't see it. When they were kids, a lot of them. I don't think it's going to be hugely relevant. And like we've discussed, it's a different style of football now, and you've got the new rules, and so I'm not sure how much of a through line you can draw to it, other than Ryan McHugh and Michael Murphy and McBrearty on the bench.
Come on, listen, John Kennedy. Let's talk about two main players. We have Michael Murphy in Donegal. He came back. He was on the FRC, isn't it? Devised the rules that would suit him. Then came back in. Decided there was another All-Ireland for him, and then if they win this year or whatever, he's going to opt out again, go back, change rules again, and come back in. So tell us about Michael Murphy. He's had a huge influence. He does at times, just like yourself, and I mean this in no disparaging way, sail close to the wind. Like, he's not a guy to be messed with. I remember some of your antics back in the day. You were a very good player, obviously, and a clean player. But
there's always a but.
But you knew a small bit about I won't call them the dark arts. You weren't that kind of a player, but you know how to look after yourself. Michael is the same.
Yeah.
He could have got a black card in the
semi-final.
Yeah.
Sure, and I think the good teams, 'tis another line. You know, you have to go to the wire. You have to go to the line really if you want to be successful. And Murphy is one of those. First of all, go back to McGuinness when he came in. You know, Donegal weren't going well. They weren't at the top table. No. And McGuinness probably looked at his options. He needed to freshen it up. And Michael Murphy was obviously his target. And he came back. And it's been, apart from what he's scoring, his influence around the field, you know, he's a calming influence. He does all the simple things right. Yeah. I mean, for the goal against Meath that Michael Langan got, you know, there was a 1-2 involved in that. Another fella might have kicked a point, but he just popped a lovely pass to Langan. He sidestepped, he took a lovely step off the left, and he stuck.
They took him out.
And he stuck it, yeah.
45 minutes on the left.
I'd say maybe the point he kicked.
Apparently, McGuinness says, Jimmy. But by the way, do you realise when he was here in Tralee, they used to call the Horns end here in Tralee McGuinness's end, because he spent most of the time in Horns on a Thursday night. That was in his early years. There were great times when he was at Tralee IT, 3 Sigersons in a row, and he was the driving force in 1999. The third one won in Belfast, because the team had very few stars that time. All the Barry O'Shea, the real, you know, Joyce was still there, so as I know he was, yeah. But Seamus Moyne and all those guys were gone, yeah. Mike Frank probably changed the college for a third time, I'm not too sure. But they were all gone. But McGuinness was, he was something else. He was a driven guy, and like, you know, James Fleming, Boo Boo, he was playing that day. We had William Harmon from Castlemaine. All these guys, they were good players, but like really, McGuinness like drove that team on. Yeah. You had that even back then. You'd look at him. I know he had.
The amazing thing was that he, after winning a couple of Sigersons in Tralee, he left Tralee and he went straight up to Jordanstown, and he won the next 2 Sigersons as well.
Yeah,
that's what he has some record of around 4 Sigersons in a row with 2 different universities.
Absolutely. But I suppose let's not forget he managed at professional level.
Yes,
in soccer, you know, and he probably added to his CV by doing that, you know. And the other thing is, I believe
spent time in China and the United States.
And I believe for the weekend of the new rules in Croke Park, there was with the 4 provinces.
Yeah,
himself and his management team came down for the full weekend.
Yeah, that's right.
You know, and they observed, and not 1 or 2 the complete management team. They're all Donegal natives.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's no outsider in that management team.
No. We haven't either, because Keane O'Neill is in a O'Dowd and Damian. Listen, John, the big question, of course. No, they've explosive pace and everything like that. There are 2 questions that we want to discuss. I think they're worth discussing. One is, who takes David Clifford? If it is McCall, if they take David Clifford, do they double team him? And if they do they tag Paddy and Shawnee like Tyrone did and was a mistake? Or will they take their chances with one that their structure is good enough to cover that? So that's one question. David Clifford, the David Clifford show. I think David has never been playing better, and I better wait to ask the second question then. So we'll ask that first of the 3B. But that with you, John, because you're very analytical.
For the man-on-man battle, it'll definitely be Brendan McCall that will pick up David. I don't see anybody else as even a possibility to do the job, because
Rourke, you know, he's more gone.
Yeah,
he's quick.
He's quick,
but he's only 19.
He wouldn't physically be able to cope with David Clifford. Like, he might be faster, but McCall is a big man, so I think they would put McCall at the start anyway and see how that goes. But they won't leave it as 1-on-1 maybe as Tyrone did, as Malik O'Rourke kind of admitted that he put so much effort into Paddy and Sean O'Shea that he kind of just trusted Padraig Hampsey to take care of his own battle. And I don't think it's possible with the way David Clifford is playing this year to have anybody who could take care of their own battle against David at this moment in time. Whoever it is has to be helped.
But like, is maybe John, as a former manager, you might have, is there a middle path between what Tyrone did and what Armagh did? Because it's like I don't know. I'm struggling to think.
Like John said there, like you have Paddy, you have Shawnee, you have David. You have Joe O'Connor, who's probably be wing forward. Yeah. Like Malik O'Rourke was very honest after, say they earmarked and they suffered. Do you know? And I think, like you said, David, to me the point, he's got some fabulous scores all year, but the point against Tyrone, the ball in from Jason Foley, he caught it in midair, He came down, he was on the ground, Paddy Campsey around him.
Yeah.
He got up and in one movement, he kicked it over the bar. An incredible score. The balance, the power, you know, the accuracy, it summed him up in one.
I think McGuinness will trust his defenders a lot of the time in this game to go one-on-one. He has put a lot of faith in them. Like the Donegal defence has picked itself all season. Like it is exactly going to be Roarty, McCall, Peter Morgan, Ryan McHugh, Owen Bon Gallagher and Kieran Moore.
I'm hearing that Owen Bon Gallagher could be in danger of being dropped because they're going to have to include, is it McGonigal?
McGonigal for
Yeah.
physical power.
Yeah. He's going to have to come in somewhere. He's very effective. He's mobile. He's big. He might even come into midfield. And if he does...
Potentially, but they haven't done it in any of the most recent games. Like they have really
But I'm
trusted
predicting
that
now, just
back six.
in my mystic qualities, that Owen Bon Gallagher could miss out and might not start against Kerry. Is that a bombshell, Joe?
I wouldn't go as far as a bombshell, but I'd be surprised if they changed up that back line. The Donegal team for the last 2 or 3 games, there's been no changes whatsoever to their starting 15. They seem to be as settled as you could possibly
Surely
be.
he's going to spring a rabbit out the hat for Kerry. He's not going to go. He knows Kerry.
Maybe that might be the rabbit out of the hat.
Yeah, it
I
might
think
be.
that is the rabbit.
You know,
I think I've just released the rabbit out the hat.
Like McGuinness has a system, even the timing of the substitutions.
Yeah.
Tis a similar time, winning or losing. He uses the same, and you look at the bench again. We'll probably talk about Mac Brearty, like Darragh O'Brien.
Jason McGee comes on around 45 minutes every time for Hugh McFadden in the midfield.
He's one of the best midfielders.
He's Caelan McGonigal if he doesn't start. All these are adding.
McFadden Ferry is very experienced as well.
Yeah, so they're plenty of talent. Is David Clifford, and I'll ask the three with just a one sentence answer, is David Clifford the best footballer that you've seen in your lifetime? We're not talking about going back in history to the time of Mikey Sheehy and all these lads and Spillane, Mick O'Connell, you know, Morris Fitz, etc. But in your time of working, is, you know, since about 2007, is it? So in the last 20 years, we'll give you. You weren't exactly a baby when you started working, you weren't?
No.
Talk about babies earlier. Don't talk about the newly married.
No question. It's not a question.
He's the best.
Yeah, simple as that.
I think everybody, are you in the same? Yeah, he's the best, you see?
Best Gaelic footballer I've seen, yeah.
Yeah, is he your John?
There's no doubt, Martin. You mentioned some names there. I was lucky to play with some of the greats.
Yeah.
But this guy has taken it to another level. Yeah. His scoring is incredible. You know, his consistency, it's just unbelievable. Yeah. He's a super talent.
Now, there's a fly in the ointment as far as I'm concerned. You all know what that expression means. There's a fly in the ointment as far as I'm concerned, and that's the booming kickouts of Shane Patton. Now, if they go beyond our midfield, he has the ability to land them on our 45, close enough to it. Now, there's no point in having 4 across, Mark O'Shea there, etc., if you don't have cover in behind. Does Kerry, he booms them. They're not hanging in the air, so you get a chance of punching them. These things come like missiles. Now, if he does that, do we take out chances and hope to get points, not goals, or that we might turn one over or whatever, or get a breaking ball if they can't catch it, or do we set up a structure that there's someone always in there behind to try and pick up the loose ball?
Shane Enright, the Kerry man, this morning was writing about this, and he was basically saying that we can't risk too often anyway, or if at all, pushing up on their kick out a la what we did against Armagh. Because, like you say, he'll ping it over the cover and they'll break and they'll punish us. And the other thing then is Mike Breen probably has a key role to play there. You probably have to keep Mike Breen
in front of
the full back line, you know.
On the edge of that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, like, we talk about matchups and that. I'm sure he will have a man, but he can't allow his man to drag him out of position, because otherwise, you know, you're going to leave Jason Foley and the boys inside very exposed.
The man that would usually come out probably to collect that ball would be Michael Murphy. If he lines out, will it be Jason Foley that will take him? He's quicker than Murphy. He's big and strong. He's tall. He's your traditional fullback, in many ways, and his form to date over the past number of years has been fantastic. Is he the man to take Michael Murphy? Would
Um,
you give it to Dylan Casey, Paul Murphy?
I think again it comes back to you don't want to leave that central channel exposed, and if you have Jason doing that job, then he because he moves around so much, Murphy, you're leaving yourself exposed. What do you? Sorry.
Yeah, ideally I would like to keep Jason in the full back line because I feel, and this is no disrespect to Michael Murphy, who's having a very fine season, but if you look at it as regards open play, which Kerry have to look at, Conor O'Donnell and Oisin Gallen are far more dangerous from open play than Michael Murphy is at this stage of his career. O'Donnell is the top scorer for Donegal with 3 goals and 21 from play. Gallen has a goal and 20. So Kerry have to take serious care with those players. Would I like to see Jason Foley away from the full back line with O'Donnell and Gallen having a lot of space, whether that means taking care of Michael Murphy or not? No, I wouldn't. I think Kerry have to be very careful here because Murphy will have an influence, but I don't think he's the key player for Donegal as in David Clifford is the key player for Kerry.
That's the point Shane was making as well.
Between the likes of O'Donnell, Gallen, I think Michael Langan in the middle of the field is a player like Joe O'Connor. I think Donegal will have to have a special task for somebody to subdue Joe O'Connor, but we will have to do exactly the same on Michael Langan. Michael Langan has scored a goal and 25 points from the middle of the field. It's phenomenal, like what he's doing. One game he's scored.
Langan and O'Connor be?
I wouldn't have Joe doing a job like that. Joe's biggest asset to Kerry is in an attacking sense, breaking the lines. The man marking job will have to go probably to a Mark O'Shea or a Sean O'Brien.
Sean O'Brien more than likely.
Yeah, and you have to. They might have to be told just sacrifice your own game to keep Michael Langan quiet.
And remember, Sean O'Brien started the year as a defender.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. He could be ideal for that type of role because Langan is.
He needs to be very quick. I know Sean is a cousin of mine, but he has to be very quick. Why are you all smiling?
What does his quickness have to do with you being his cousin?
Because when
he's depending on being related to you to be quick, he is no.
When I was his age, I was one of the quickest guys in the Carnegie. You can check it back in history, but there's nobody to disprove it right now in this building.
Is there VAR from that time?
There wasn't, no. And I don't give video recorders back then. I get my name in the caravan every now and then. John, I'm listening to 2 lads and I'm aghast. Absolutely disgusted at their analysis because Jason Foley, and you nodding your head at them, so you agreed with them. You telling me that Jason Foley will not be picking up Michael Murphy. Danger man. He catches ball, he moves in, he hand passes a quick pass, slip pass to Oisin Gallen back of the net. Yeah. And we're saying, what good is having Jason Foley inside the edge of the square if he's looking at a fella coming at him, can't stop him, slip pass. He must win primary possession in there. We need to turn them over there, counter-attack, get the ball into David, back of the net, 39 All-Irelands won.
First of all, I don't think Murphy will be full forward, being honest with you. He might line out there at the start. Yeah. I think they're going to put him out, bring him out around the middle, because, you know, a player...
Who'll take him then?
I would imagine maybe Mike Breen.
But Mike Breen is inside already.
I would imagine you need a physical presence with Murphy. Any player at that stage of his career, that yard of pace isn't there.
Do you put Mike Breen on him and then, like, I know JC was a big fan of Gavin at centre back. Is that the kind of solution you go for?
I think they'll probably do that. Jason needs to be left inside. I think he's pace off the mark. I agree with the lads. You saw what Gallen could do in the semi-final. It was a brilliant goal off his left. Half a chance. He hasn't been as effective since Murphy came back, really. But I think Sunday could be a day that he'll be unleashed. Murphy will come out because he'll come in for special attention. He's a playmaker. He'll kick 2-pointers. But is he going to get a ball and take on the defenders? No. The O'Donnells and the Gallons will do that. Yeah. Kieran Moore coming from the half-back line. Or
Heather Morgan from the back line.
Yeah, I think they have a lot of avenues. They have a lot of pace. They run straight lines. They will cause trouble when they have the ball.
Why do you want a guy who told us on Saturday that when he was under 16, I think he was 17, under 16, 17 before he changed to football and was big into the athletic sport, sprinting and hurling. He was able to do, when he was quizzed by Christy O'Connor, I think it was, that he could do 100 metres in
11.8.
No, 11.8, and you have him standing still in the square, waiting for this mythical ball to drop.
I'll counteract that now.
And Michael Murphy, who couldn't do 100 metres in 20 seconds, is angling in the pitch.
I'm sure he already has Mike Breen marking Michael Murphy.
I'll ask you the question then. If you take Jason, doing 11.8 seconds.
If you take Jason out of the full back line, who are you going to put in full back? You're going to put in a player in there that's not used to playing there. Jason has really grown into the role. Yeah. I think he's developed into.
He will cover across.
Yeah,
and I think Shane Ryan will come out and play.
I think you're underestimating the threat of O'Donnell and Gallen there more big time.
Dylan Casey,
they are far better scorers in the current championship than Michael Murphy is. And Michael Murphy doesn't. You're dead right, John. He won't stay inside full forward. He'll be out around the middle of the field. That's where he does most
and you don't want Jason.
You don't want Jason there.
Jason, over the last couple of All-Ireland finals we've been in semi-finals, has been more time in attack than in defence. In fact, he's missed a few scores as well, a few goals, and we won't hold that against him.
I don't think you'll see him in the attack too much the next
year.
But
you know, we also have the 4 up and the 3 back thing. You know, you have to consider that as well. And
well, you might bring back, and you have the 2 cornerbacks back. That's 3 backs, so Jason can wander after Michael Murphy. Sure, it has to be the matchup. You played in All-Ireland, you have 3 All-Ireland medals, and you clueless. You never played in anything, and you have nothing, and you come
I'm definitely clueless,
yeah, and you come from Dual, so how would you know?
If you're Jim McGuinness and you're looking at the full back line, Jason Foley in particular, his pace, he gets the hand in, he flicks the ball away, he doesn't allow the player to get possession. Wouldn't you be delighted if Jason Foley went out?
And the thing about Jason as well is he doesn't get panicked. He doesn't get spooked. I remember watching the first 10 minutes and McCurry got a few good balls out in front of me thinking, is Jason under a bit of bother here? That lasted all about 5 minutes. And then he got to grips with it. He is the calm head on shoulders that you need in that position.
And what he has done of late as well, you can see him directing.
Yes, exactly.
That comes with experience.
Yeah.
You know, when you're a young fella starting off and you're just getting the position, you have the head down, you're doing your own job. But you can see him now. He's expressing himself. He's organising the defenders. He's telling fellas come back. You know, and I think he's in total control.
And I know it just, you know, press day, like we said earlier, it doesn't really matter much. But I think the fact that he was trusted by Jack O'Connor to come in and talk to us, whereas maybe for the 2022 final, it would have been one of the older guys. Yeah. Now he's that experienced head. Yeah. He is that leader now for the team.
Right, let's talk about other areas. We talked about the booming kick out from, and you're not worried about it, from Patton, even man behind the centre back, or the guy who's going to
we are worried about it, that's why he's there.
And then you're not worried about Michael Murphy because he won't put Jason Foley on him. He wants to put Paul Murphy or Dylan, who are way smaller than him and not physically up.
Nobody has mentioned Paul Murphy.
Mike Breen said.
Michael Murphy.
Mike Breen
Mike Breen.
Yeah,
Mike Breen. Mike Breen is the guy that's in the hole, so you want him to be there.
No, he said Gavin White into the pocket.
And Gavin White then is to go from the pocket and top of the arc and launch an attack to the other arc, like he's been doing all along. He's the best attacking halfback we have. We have 3 very good attacking halfbacks, and you want to destroy all that. That's fine, lads. We'll move on to the next item. This is, let's have a look at the various matchups or where the dangers are. If you look at Kerry, Paddy Clifford is back. He's the conductor of the orchestra. We have Shawnee Shea, who had a great game against Armagh. Maybe not as powerful against Tyrone, but still very effective. So those 2 boys and Joe O'Connell, as we mentioned, they're all threats going forward. How, Damien, do you think Armagh, can they counter them? Because they're all connected with getting early ball into the space to David Clifford. Can we do that? Will Donegal allow us to do that?
And I've been looking at the forecast all week. And there's been
you're weatherman now.
I'm not at all, but I've been looking at the forecast, and I think quite a bit of it will depend on that. We do, I think. Look, I'm not saying if it rains we're doomed or anything like that, but I think it would be to our benefit if it's a dry ball and a dry day, because I think the best way for Kerry to do that is, and we do have powerful runners, but I think our strength this year has been our kick passing, and there was a few occasions, I think I was listening to Pat Spillane rather, talking on a podcast this week, and he was asked about what he thought one of the weaknesses of Donegal was, getting all my northern teams mixed up. And he thought that, when Monaghan switched a cross-diagonal ball, that seemed to short-circuit Donegal just a little bit. And I think we have the best kick passers of the game there. And I think if we can exploit that as much as our strike runners, I think that's probably the way to open up that Donegal defence.
What do you think, John? Do you think we can open them up? Paddy, obviously, he's coming back from injury and his form was good, but I don't think he's hit the heights of the past couple of seasons yet, while David has gone to another planet, another level. Paddy could be very important.
David is better when Paddy's on the pitch. Mm-hmm. It's as simple as that. You can see it whether that's with club,
brotherly love,
whether that's club or divisional team or intercounty. David enjoys it better when Paddy is there. They have a telepathic understanding. When Paddy's on his game,
maybe probably any footballer, any inside forward enjoys it more when Paddy's around.
Yeah, that's true. I was just thinking there from a McGuinness point of view, if you were to look at it, would he try and say that he would try and push Paddy and Sean O'Shea the other way? Would he try and say, I'll get Padder Morgan and Kieran Moore to pick up both of these players? Because Paddy will naturally drift back anyway. So whichever one then is Moore or Morgan, they can score big time. Yeah. And they have savage pace. Would they try and take Sean O'Shea with pace and drift him back and make him have to think about who he's marking rather than put an out-and-out man marker on both of those players? If I was him, I'd nearly think Morgan and Moore and see if they can turn them and put Paddy and Sean O'Shea on the back foot. And if you have those two lads on the back foot, then you're going to reduce the supply of ball into David immediately. So that could be something that Kerry might have to think about. Then there would be more emphasis on the Graham O'Sullivans and the Joe O'Connors and the Dylan Gainey's.
What final was it? Was it 2011, John? You might remember better. Was it Philly McMahon on the Gooch, and the Gooch spent half the game?
It was a bit later. I think it was 2015.
And he spent half the game going the other direction.
Yeah.
So
I think Philly McMahon got a point that day, and the Gooch didn't score. Yeah. So there could be, you could do something like that with Padder Morgan as well. Padder Morgan is a serious scorer. Player, So is Moore.
How many points he got this year?
Morgan has about 14 points and Moore has 2-8. They'll have to be watched when they go up the field because they are good scorers. Now we have Gavin White and Brino Begliak, Tom O'Sullivan if he's involved in some way. They're well capable of scoring as well. We spoke a lot there about the full back line. Ideally, you'd want Tom Sullivan to be fully fit and available for selection, but we don't know if that's the case.
And it does feel like McHugh as well,
but does it feel to you guys like it's going to be a high-scoring final?
No.
John?
Too tactical.
I don't know. Like I said earlier, I don't think it'll be as tactical as it was 11 years ago.
No.
I do think it'll be reasonably high scoring.
Kerry, what did we score? What did we score against? 32 points against Armagh.
32 points against Armagh, 120 against Tyrone.
And what did
Donegal have scored 326 twice in the championship. I don't know how it wouldn't be a high scoring game unless, as you say, the forecast is for maybe a rainy, windy day or whatever on Sunday. But
no, it'll be 220 to Kerry, 20 points to.
That's a high scoring game.
All right. Listen, I had to say that because the more I'm listening to you, the more depressed I'm getting, and it's not because of your contributions, which are always intelligent, but even convinced now that Kerry have no chance. That the Donegal with their pace, with the kick out, with David Clifford being held, with nobody mark Michael Murphy.
When did we say David Clifford was being held?
We didn't say any of that.
We might not travel at all. We might have, John, bring us back down to earth a small bit. Tell me this, I'll be going to what team we think Kerry will pick next, and then we'll just get a final prediction. But tell me this, do you think that we need to play at 100%? Really, we haven't been at 100% in any game for any period. We need to start well, we need to maintain it, and we need to finish well. It looks like we're in very good condition physically this year in all the games we played. We had that golden 15-minute spell against Armagh, and was it a 10-minute spell or whatever it was? It was a bit more prolonged and maybe not as devastating against Tyrone. But do we need to be 100% from the start because we're playing elitely, quick, fast, breaking team.
The two best teams in the country in the final, there's no question. I think Donegal, Donegal are a really good side. They have strength and depth. They have a lot of players that can hurt us. We have very good players as well. But I think that, Shane Ryan has made quite a number of saves in the last two games.
He's a better keeper for saves and for shot stopping than Patton. Yeah. Guarantee you that.
But the point I'm making is he made those because the chances were created by both Tyrone and Armagh. They weren't taken. He made very good saves. Yeah. We can't give those chances to Donegal.
He might save them again.
He might, but he might not. And I think Donegal, to me, two things happened this year that said, like, the mission they're on, against Mayo, when it was level.
They didn't have to win that
They didn't have to win it.
Yeah.
Patton put down the ball. Kieran Moore got it straight through over the bar. Yeah. They won. And I think after the semi-final, I didn't stand for it on the Sunday, watching it on television. The game was over. Donegal were basking and they were waving at the crowd and all this. Hugh McFadden, the midfielder, he beckoned all the players. And we were saying at home, are they going to another section of the stand? They went to the dressing room. And they showed him going down the tunnel. McGuinness was in the middle and all went down. This was a focus, get off the field, stop the recovery. Yeah. It said a lot about their mindset.
It said they don't give a hell about their supporters. Clifford came out with the county chairman and thanked the supporters for showing up.
But the job was done.
They're close to the Atlantic Ocean. Are we close to the Atlantic?
We're close, but the job was done, and I think there's one mission for Donegal when McGuinness came back and win the All-Ireland.
It is, yeah.
You're just talking about that semi-final, and it was such a massive win. Does that help them, or does that? Would you prefer to have Kerry's semi-final played or Donegal?
Kerry's exactly.
Like, just imagine if Kerry had their last three games were against Louth, Monaghan and Meath to get to the final, and they were all won basically by cricket scores. Yeah. Everyone would be saying Kerry are going to go in undercooked. They haven't met tough opposition at all. They're not going to be prepared for the savagery of All-Ireland final day against a team on their level. And then on the other hand, Kerry have come through Armagh and come through Tyrone. Two savage battles, which on another day you could easily lose if you don't play well.
But John, you're saying like that people are. I just saw this clip on YouTube of Mickey Hart speaking. Now it was before the Meath game, but he was basically saying that Kerry had it handy before they got to Croke Park. So I was like, I don't know, like we've had two savage battles with Cork.
Would you take notice of what Mickey Hart says?
But I take notice of what's in the ether in the sort of Ulster football sphere.
I mean, Santa Kavanagh, Hart, all those guys, they hate Kerry.
I don't know, do they hate Kerry, but they're jealous. The Ulster pundocracy or whatever you call it, they tend to back their own regardless.
I think you're dead right there. I wouldn't say it's a hatred of Kerry, but Ulster pundits, no matter what county they're from, they usually tip up their own province to win. Because I even saw like Dick Clerkin before the semi-final saying it was definitely going to be a Donegal-Tyrone final. And it's just everyone has some inherent bias within them. Like we obviously all have a little bit of bias towards our own as well. But I wouldn't say it's hatred towards Kerry. A lot of those Ulster counties grew up watching the green and gold jersey. They have a lot of respect for what Kerry have achieved. And what I will say, it means more to them if they win an All-Ireland by beating Kerry in the final than it does against any other county.
I'm older than the Trevi, not combined, but I'm definitely older than the Trevi. And I know from going way, way back, there is no love, and the opposite to love is hate. There is no love for Kerry in those northern teams. Absolutely none whatsoever. So forget, but we'll take
I know that Armagh people have Kerry flags out their window whenever they're playing
but
Tyrone.
That's
they never Kerry are playing Tyrone.
No, that's the marching season this time of the year. They don't put up orange flags.
I think more coming back to the point is if you compare it to the hurling, Cork had a facile victory over Dublin.
Yes.
Yeah. Now there are people saying is
were they tested?
Well, you
don't mention that.
And you look at this Donegal the last day 326 against Meath. Yeah. The lads coming on, the strength and depth, we're back to it again. They wanted to make a mark to have a chance of getting the jersey for the final.
And there's also, and you were just saying, I know you're playing devil's advocate and all that, but we're all kind of fearful of Donegal on the basis of what they did to Meath.
Yeah.
Kerry ain't Meath. I know Meath beat Kerry, but Kerry ain't Meath.
Yeah.
So we're looking at them through Meath's tinted glasses.
Yeah.
They probably aren't as good as what we're building them up to be in our head. Not that they're not very good, but you know what I mean. Yeah. That maybe we're building them up into being Supermen on the back of a performance against a team that wasn't up to the race.
Armagh and Tyrone were far stiffer tests than Donegal had.
John, you went through preparation for All Ireland finals. You were in the dressing room. You were in the bubble, as they call it. Neither of us, the closest bubble we got was in
COVID bubble.
The COVID bubble, where we couldn't move 5 yards from our house without a guard asking you where were you going. But having said that, what was it like? What's it like? How do you shut out the outside noise?
You just keep out of the
Well, there was no social media back in your time.
No, there wasn't in
Had heat and light and telephone.
black and white television.
Oh, yeah.
But no, you just kept away. I mean, family and that, of course, but well-wishers, club people on the street, you kept away from that.
Yeah.
There was a focus on it, and you prepared in your own way. And the lads will be the same. They'll shut out all that now for this week. They'll enjoy it. And I think that you look at Tipperary, if there's anything that can go on, we mentioned about McGuinness in 2014. Will he use that? Maybe not outwardly, but inside. Any little thing, any little advantage you can get. We had it with the wire, and every manager has it. Tipperary used it with the late Dylan Quirk for the players to motivate them. And there's nothing better than to have something that you just latch onto, and it takes the focus as well, and you forget about other things.
Is Kerry's thing being not written well? They felt they were written off after the media. Is that Kerry's thing?
I think so, and I think the criticism that came, you could see the hurt for Jack and the management and the players. That'll be used again, because we're one defeat away from going back to that.
Oh yeah.
There's no question about it.
Yeah, Kerry supporters will that. John, could this be? And I don't want to put pressure on the man. He's willing to handle pressure, and he won't watch this until Christmas, if he watches it at all. David Clifford, could this year, the way he's playing, the way he's winning games, now some say he has the great record in finals, but in semi-finals, I'm looking up, he's scored 8 points, 7 points, he's had 5 points, he's had good records. The game against Dublin that we lost, he had, was it 3 points or something in that, or 5 points, and
he could have had another one or two more.
The assist for
Paul Ganey.
So look, but could this be the way he's driving them on, the way he's turning to the crowd, the way he exhorted the crowd to follow Kerry? Could he lead us into the promised land? Could it be David Clifford's final?
100%. Every time David Clifford goes out onto the pitch, it can be David Clifford's day in whatever game he's playing in. He's got 8 goals and 53 points in the championship so far in 8 matches. Wow. 8.39 from play.
Wow.
He's unmarkable. And
how many 2-pointers in that? 7, is it? No, 5.
9, I think.
9.
But Jimmy McGuinness will know that he's unmarkable as well. It'll be a question of trying to reduce the supply of ball into him, and then try and reduce the influence that he can have when he does get the ball. David Clifford is on a mission. He looked tired last year by the time the Armagh semi-final came around. It's been
sick of the way football was gone. I think too.
Yeah, exactly. And like most attacking players were sick of the way football was gone. You only have to go back and remember last year's All-Ireland final. I think there was only 1 point scored by the respective forward
lines. The interview with Son Paddy at the Alliance Health thing in Killarney, the new place that was being opened, and he gave us an interview.
They needed a break.
And he
they're rejuvenated.
He said that he loved playing corner forward, but he didn't like it anymore. Do you remember that day?
Yeah. But it's obvious, like the likes of Shane Walsh and these guys wouldn't have enjoyed the All-Ireland final last year. Well, it was a horrible game to play in. Football was a horrible sport to play in last season. Let's call it a spade.
And watch.
The game and watch. The game and coach, as Jack says. It wasn't a good game to coach.
Okay, I'll start with you, Damian, as the youngest here. Yeah, that's right. You are.
By a decent margin, I would say.
By a decent margin. Youngest here. Do you think Kerry make changes?
I don't.
Who will be on the bench then of the injured players?
I mean, that's impossible to say, really. We don't know.
Listen, you were on a podcast.
Oh, sorry.
You have to give that a thing.
There you go. The headline. Jim O'Connor started. Look, it all depends. It all depends on how well they're going. Of the trio of kind of, maybe I think Paul Ganey is the best placed.
Yeah.
We had a discussion earlier off air. There's a chance that he could be a starter. And even if he's... I suspect that the team will be named tomorrow night and it'll be the same team as was named for the semi-final. Yeah. Doesn't mean it's going to be the same team that starts, just as it wasn't in the previous round.
So do you believe that Paul Ganey will be on the bench, Diarmuid O'Connor could be on the bench, Tom Sullivan, Jack seemed to say no, that he still had problems, didn't he? He didn't rule him out, obviously, but he was struggling. I don't think he played last Saturday in that training game.
I'm not sure we'll know for sure until Sunday morning.
But I know now.
So fair enough. Yeah.
Tony Brosnan, he'll be there.
Well, the three guys who had been Tyke Morley, Tony Brosnan, there was somebody else as well.
Micheál Burns,
Killian
Spillane.
No, but those two guys had been on the injury list who were there the last day and featured. Mm-hmm. They're a step up on. Yeah. So they'll definitely be there.
Do you think it'll be the same team that got to move on?
It does depend on how they feel that Diarmuid O'Connor, Tom O'Sullivan and Paul Ganey are. But you would imagine at this stage in proceedings that they will start with the 15 that started against Tyrone, which did include Paddy Clifford and Mark O'Shea coming in at the start.
Yeah. How much of a risk would it be, John, to start Diarmuid O'Connor and Diarmuid O'Connor breaks down after 15 minutes?
Massive.
Disaster.
But if you bring him on, that's two subs. You have to bring him on and bring him off again if he gets injured. At least if you start.
But if you bring him on with 15 to go, he might get 20. He might get 20 minutes out. He's hit the last 15. It's a safer bet, but
I would imagine that the game will be won and lost in the last 20 minutes of the match, where substitutes will be absolutely pivotal. I don't see any of the two teams being in such a position after 45 or 50 minutes that they're cruising. That either side is cruising. So you know what Donegal are going to do. They're going to bring on McGee at midfield. They're going to bring on Darragh O'Boyle to kick 2-pointers. They're going to bring on McBrearty to score. We're going to bring on the likes of Tony Brosnan if he's fully fit, Micheál Burns, Killian Spillane, potentially Tyke Morley, Evan Looney. But then, if you have the three extra assets, if you have a Diarmuid, a Paul Ganey and a Tom Sullivan available, that makes our bench a lot stronger than it is right now.
John Kennedy, who will come on in extra time?
Extra time. I think of all those, I'd agree with the lads, but I think Paul Ganey is critical. Yeah. I think his availability could be the difference. He's a shoulder. Because he was having a great season. He takes the pressure off of David, Shawnee. He's another option. He's more experienced than Dylan and Connor. And, I think that...
I don't think he will.
If he has a part to play, maybe not start.
I think if he was going to start him in the All-Ireland final, he'd have brought him on for the last 10 minutes against Tyrone, a game that we were winning, and give him a run out to see how the shoulder would do. The fact that he had him in cold storage...
Do you not think he's seeing how the shoulder is in training over the last 2 weeks?
I know he's looked at it, but he's been looking at it the last 6 weeks in training. And he has.
But why would he have taken a risk against Tyrone?
In a game that was won.
He said against Armagh in the quarter-final that they would definitely have brought him on if they needed to bring him on.
It's a question of needs must.
Needs must on Sunday.
We would but not to start.
Needs didn't must on those two.
But maybe they learned from Joe O'Connor, starting him against Cavan.
Diarmuid.
Sorry, Diarmuid O'Connor. Starting against Cavan, shoulder gone again. We've learned from it. And shoulder injuries, will we hold him?
Yeah. It was a shoulder,
Was it a shoulder injury twice?
No, it was shoulder. Yeah. But he's waiting to do an operation, I think, in August or September. I'm not sure he even play with Nagail. But that's confidential information which I can't share with you. So, you were saying no change, possibly one change for you. Paul Ganey could play.
If he possibly won't start. He possibly won't start, but if he's fit,
he will be used.
We're in trouble.
He'll be used. I think you'll see the same team.
And what do you think of the argument that we're having before that we'd be better balanced with Paul Ganey starting?
Yeah.
Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, right lads, it's come to this. First of all, I give my tuppence worth. I think Kerry will make one change, but I can't tell you the change, but there will be one change. Secondly, I think Donegal will make a change. I think what's his name, will miss out. The Bon Gallagher will miss out, and they'll bring on your man
McColgan.
That'll be one change in Donegal. There could be change in Kerry, and I fear that it could be half-hour line midfield, that area, that the change could be made. So one change on both sides is my prediction. I'm completely wrong. So, but I was not. But I'm the most knowledgeable of the three people. Now I only acknowledge. Now let's get a prediction. from me. John, I will ask you first as the man with 3 All-Ireland medals, but no county have you county senior championship medal?
No, I don't, but no.
Have you county intermediate medal?
No.
Have you a novice medal?
I have a few novices on right.
Have you?
They're sitting here alongside
Very long for this.
No, with ST.
Yeah. You won it back in the day?
I did, yeah.
All right.
We went on and we won Munster in 2013 or 14, was it?
Oh, that's right. I was following you that time.
Yeah.
You were very contrary in the sideline. But go on. Who's going to win this?
I think it'll be a classic game. I think really, Murt. It'll be a really not so much ultra tactical, but there will be tactics. It'll be interesting to see what McGuinness implies to counteract David and Shawnee. But on the other hand, what Jack and the management team will do to counteract their danger men, particularly Gallen and their running game. You know, Moore, we've mentioned already, Padder Morgan, Ryan McHugh. I think on ball Ganhill will start centre back. I think I think McGuinness won't change too much. He won't make too many changes. They have a kind of a system that they work to. Players are comfortable with it. They're a very good side, but I think we're a very good side too. And I think David Clifford will be the trump card for us. Regardless who's on, few points, we'll get over the line by a few points. And I think that I'd agree with John and Damien. David Clifford is in the form of his life. He's the best footballer has come out of Kerry, and he's on fire. He's on a mission, and he's going to continue that.
So one thing it can't just be David Clifford.
No.
It can't. And we've gone into big games before and we've been thinking, we've got this and that and this for us. And it's turned out if David isn't firing, we're in trouble. It can't be that.
No,
it can't be that.
No. That's why I said about Paul Ganey, if he is involved, he has the experience, he'll get the few scores, he'll take the attention to the defence. And Paddy, we're hoping he's fit.
McGuinness knows he can score a goal as well against Donegal in an All-Ireland final.
John, we'll go back to the balance. Sorry, Murt. Just could Killian
Jimmy?
Could Killian Spillane, be a bolter that nobody expects to provide that balance?
Like Killian's form is on the upper cover as well. He was introduced during the year. He had no influence in the games, but in the last 2 or 3 games, he's certainly. I think Croke Park, that space. And the confidence he has, but I think it's all about confidence.
What did Pat call his nephew the best impact player in the county has ever produced, is it? Something like that. John, I always rely on you for a verdict because I think you usually are pretty correct.
I'm very wary about Donegal, to be brutally honest. I do think they're going to be the stiffest test of our credentials and will challenge us in different ways to both Armagh and Tyrone. But I kind of do agree with John as well. I think if we can hold their trump cards as well as possible, I don't think they can hold David Clifford. And if he has the right support, if Paddy's 100% fit, if we can get 20-25 minutes out of Paul Ganey even, I think we can win it by 2 points.
All right. So we've Kerry win by 2 or 3, Kerry win by 2, Damo?
I'm inclined towards Kerry. I agree with everything pretty much that's been said. Donegal are a serious team. They're going to challenge us in ways that we haven't been challenged so far. But I think that this Kerry team have come through a serious season. Those 2 games against Cork and the battles that they were, the 2 battles against Armagh and Tyrone, I think.
The kick up the backside by Meath.
The kick up by backside by Meath.
Could turn out to be the most vital day in the entire season.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And another thing we kind of half touched on is experience.
Yeah.
Most of these Kerry boys, I think bar 3 have played previous finals before.
Their 5th or 6th final.
And they played 2 in 19, they played 22, they played 20. This is their 5th final for a lot of these guys. Yeah. More for Paul Ganey and Paul Walsh. Paul Murphy.
Yeah.
They played in 15 and 14.
Yeah.
I think there's only 3 Donegal likely starters have played in the final before. That could make a big difference.
Yeah, on a big day.
But then again, go back to last Sunday.
Yeah.
Most of those Tip boys didn't have any of the experience that the Cork boys had, and it seemed to throw the shackles off.
Right, everybody in podcast land.
After giving out about the Ulster pundits,
so the Kerry pundits have shown their true colours and have gone for Kerry, but not me. I'm a man of honour and of tremendous analysis and experience. And I think David Clifford, obviously, if David Clifford cuts loose, Donegal are in trouble. and Kerry will be bringing home their 39th Sam. But I do think that this is a very good Donegal team, and I think they might just shade it by a point or two. So I am going against the grain, and Kerry won't be talked about by any of the players for 6 months, but we'll take that on board. And I am seriously, at the start of the week, I was thinking Donegal, by a lot. Now it's getting closer and closer. By the time Saturday comes, the bookmakers...
You'll change your mind.
I might. The bookmakers, the bookmakers are laying it even money Kerry 6-5, which is basically even money. So it's 50-50 according to the layers. They normally, so there's no strong favourite. It's a 50-50 game. Just think Donegal and Jim McGuinness might just get over the line. I hope I'm wrong, because I want Kerry to win, trust me.
Replay now, Murt. Another replay in 2 weeks' time. You've nailed it now.
Replay in 2 weeks' time would be good. And then,
No, I wouldn't.
and then we would have the Camogie final the day after. By the way, if there's a replay, it will be on the 9th, isn't it?
Saturday the 9th.
9th, and then Sunday the 10th, Kerry are playing the All-Ireland Intermediate Camogie final against Offaly, so I'll be in Croke Park that day, so we'll make a weekend of it if it was. It would be great, a draw. In fact, I wouldn't rule it out now, boys. I wouldn't rule out a draw at all, because this is going to be tactical, I think. I don't think it's going to be as high scoring as everybody has said, despite what I said earlier. But I do think that, maybe Donegal has a slight edge. But either way, let's hope everybody enjoys it. Thanks to the panel, to John John the Baptist,
John Paul,
and then John Paul, and then Damo, of course, JC on production. And let's hope for the supporters travel safely, for the players good luck on both sides. I hope the referee has a good game as well, and that at the end of the day we'll be looking back and we won't be talking about a refereeing decision or a slip or anything. that will be won on merit by one side or the other. And obviously everybody in Kerry is hoping it's going to be the Kingdom. So having said that, it's goodbye for now, and we'll be talking to you next week with what will be known as a post-mortem, I presume, whether we win, whether we lose. Bye for now.